And with his dying breath, King Visarys just cocked up the whole thing. Greetings and welcome once again to Roman of the Empire. I am your host, Roman. Today we are talking about House of the Dragon, Episode 9, The Green Council. This was a busy episode, as most of them have been. It wasn't super action-packed. There were a couple of really good action scenes in this. Most of this was the political maneuvering around the death of King Visarys. Now, we knew he was dying at the end of the last episode, but with his dying breath, he mistook Alicent for his daughter, Rhaenyra, and uttered the prophecy of ice and fire. This confused Alicent, or it didn't, and she's just using it for... I think she actually believes he meant those words. She goes and tells Otto, of course. Word is now getting around. They're trying to keep it contained, though. And Otto immediately starts putting his plan into motion because we know Otto really wants power. That's Otto's thing. I liked this episode a lot. There was some icky stuff as well that it didn't derail the episode, but it did take you out of the episode while this was going on. You're like, damn, why? We'll get to that in just a little bit. But overall, it was a very good episode. This is, like I said, this is the political maneuvering that you expect, pardon me, and want out of a Game of Thrones show. So, the king is dead. Alicent believes that he wants their son Aegon to be the king. That, of course, isn't his intent, but that's neither here nor there. And Alicent's the only one who has heard these words. So, Otto now knows, and he's like, who else knows this? And she's saying, a few of the servants. Things go, I don't say quickly, but it's... pretty quickly. We're now in the council chamber, and there's some really interesting camera play in this scene as you're watching them discuss what Alicent tells them and how the council responds to it. And the camera goes to everybody in the council, and it's nice work to see the way they shot this. Otto is basically talking about putting a plan in play that he and who else was in this messy plan? It was the Lannister. Who else do we have here? Well, Lannister and just a couple of the other small council members have already been planning to put Aegon in place. They never planned on putting Rhaenyra in place, even though that's what the king's wish was, until his dying breath. And again, only Alicent knows this for certain, but even then we know it's confused. There's a Beesbury. He's the oldest council member. He had known King Visarys the longest. And he's like, what are you guys talking about? Like I said, Otto's talking about killing Rhaenyra and putting this all in motion. And Beesbury's like, so, you're talking about usurping the king's wishes, and this is essentially treason. In which case, Criston Cole, who, if you recall, I used to like Criston Cole a lot. I thought he was good. And then, man, has he taken a turn. He slams this dude's head down onto the table, and he kills him. He kills the dude. And the council's just like, all right. The Lord Commander challenges Cole. He's like, put down your sword, asshole. And Cole's like, no, he insulted the queen, blah, blah, blah. And the queen's like, no, that's actually not what happened, but you're kind of losing your mind a little bit. And Otto tells Alicent, look, you're going to have to move quickly here because once Rhaenyra knows about this, things are going to get hot. And he tells the Lord Commander of the King's Guard to assemble men and go to Dragonstone and kill them. And Lord Commander rips off his cape. He's like, I am a servant of the king, and there is no king. And he leaves. He's like, I am not having this. The camera keeps going back to him as that discussion's going on. You can see he is just not having this. He knows this is not right. And so he walks out, and it's good. This was just a tense scene to watch, and every player in it did a fantastic job. Man, Otto Hightower is such a dick. I know there's a lot of people who you're kind of rooting for people for different reasons in this show because you like the political maneuvering, the stress, the tension. Who's going to come out on top of this, but it is a lot of fun to watch. And Alicent, it's interesting. I'm just hot and cold with her in this issue as to her motivations. I want to think she's trying to do the right thing, but I don't know that she is always trying to do the right thing. So now they're going to search for Aegon, who is supposed to be the king. They can't find him. They don't know where he is. He's not in his rooms. He slipped past his kind of minder in the Kingsguard. So now they have to search for him. And we have a couple different searches that end up happening. You have Aemon's eye-patched brother, who looks like an evil elf, and Kristen Cole are searching for him for Alicent. And then Sir Eric and Sir Arik, their twin brothers, are searching for him for Otto. Because each of them want to get to Aegon first so they can kind of, relay their version of what he should do. Now, while this is going on, Otto has assembled the lords of the different kingdoms and the different houses. And it's basically either you're swearing fealty to Aegon or you're going to die is kind of the unspoken but very true alternative. And in the meantime, you have Rhaenyra Targaryen, the queen that never was. They've got her locked up. They locked her room as soon as they found out the king was dead, and she's essentially a prisoner. And so she can't get out either. Now, the search for Aegon is pretty interesting because you go to some dark places in King's Landing where they have children fighting. They're like 10-year-olds with sharpened teeth and they grow out their nails, and they're fighting them like animals. And they go to all the houses of ill repute. Words are hard. And Aemon and Christian aren't having any luck at all, but Eric and Arik get contacted by an agent of the White Worm who wants to meet directly with Otto Hightower. She won't meet with anybody else. So this meeting happens, and there's an exchange of gold, and she's like, that's not it. To tell you where he is, I want something more. I want you to stop the brutality of the fighting and the children that happen here. And Otto's like, I will see what I can do. And you don't think he's going to do it because he's like, okay, fine. Ultimately, he does take care of the problem, though, which I thought was, it speaks well of Otto in its own way. So Eric and Arik find him, but then they run into Sir Kristen and the brother, Aemon, eye patch. And a fight ensues. Aemon is a very good swordsman. And while this is going on, the two brothers also are having kind of a disagreement on this, Eric and Arik, as to, and you're going to have to forgive me, I can't tell which one is which. One of them supports this plan. The other one's like, everything we're doing is wrong right now. So while the fight is going on with Aemon and either Eric or Arik, the other brother leaves. He's like, where's your brother? So Aemon and Kristen end up with the kid who doesn't want to be king at this point. He's like, I'm not built for this. Are you insane? I appreciated his at least realism of the situation, that he's not designed to be the king. Aemon, despite his villain status, would probably be a better at it. So the other brother, who I was just discussing, either Eric or Ark, goes to the queen who never was and gets her out of there. He's like, there's enough of this. And there's now one of the houses, their lord, is just hanging in the hall as an example, because that's what you do. And all of King's Landing is now being gathered to the great temple. And so while they're trying to escape the queen that never was and the knight, they get kind of swept up into this, and they all get shuffled into the great hall. I need to backtrack, because there's a disgusting scene I need to talk about. Larys Strong, who has become an agent of Alicent, after they retrieve Aegon, comes to her. He's like, how do you think it was that Otto Hightower found them first? And she's like, oh, jeez. Okay. And there's a very bizarre scene where she exposes her feet to him, and he gives her information. And it's kind of like foot porn for him, if you get my meaning. And ew. Anyway, so we get that he's going to try to root out the White Worm and the spy network. And the scene was 100% disgusting. Back to the temple, where all the citizens are being gathered so they can see Aegon be crowned king, because it's important that everybody see this. And Alicent has broken out the sword and crown of Aegon the Conqueror, symbolic things to be associated with her son. So that the citizens all see this as a legitimate thing. And she talks him all on the trolley, the carriage ride over. She's basically talking him into this, and he doesn't believe it either, until he sees the sword. He's like, "Don't toy with me, mother." We go to these now. Now we're in the Great Hall. The Queen that never was is the coronation ceremony is going on, and it's quite grand, as it should be. She has an opportunity to kind of sneak off down into the tunnels. What's down in the tunnels? What goes on in it? Isn't that where they keep the dragons? Oh, that's right, it is. Just after young Aegon, who shouldn't be king, is crowned, this is a wonderful scene. It doesn't end well, though. She bursts through the floor on her dragon, basically facing down Alicent's, Aegon, Otto, the entire cast and crew, and she looks pissed, because she should have been queen. She knew that, but she also supported Daenerys, and she waffled a little bit, but I think ultimately she did support Daenerys, because not Daenerys. I'm sorry. Flashback, Rhaenyra, in her claim to be queen, because I think she wanted to see a queen ruler of the Seven Kingdoms. It's one of the messages in the show, but that's all right. Again, we talked about it before. It's not bad. And this face-off is just so good, and you think everybody's going to become a briquette. And the dragon screams, roars at them. And then she gives them a look of basically, next time you see me, this doesn't end nearly as well as it did this time. And she flies off. That's the episode. So the war is coming now. Rhaenyra and Daemon, who are my favorite characters in the show, were absent from the episode. I think they needed to be, honestly, for all these things to happen, because it would have taken away from this story that they wanted to tell this week. Next week is going to be quite the thing. It's going to be the finale. So the big fight is coming, or at least the beginning of the big fight. They expect this to be a 4-season run, which I'm looking forward to. I loved season 1. Just don't Game of Thrones and screw it up at the end. Larys is disgusting. Alicent is moral ambivalency sometimes. Otto's a dick. Aegon, I have no doubt, is going to be a terrible king. And his brother, I think, may try to usurp him because he thinks he's the one who should be there. And so there's going to be some interesting things to watch in this. Christian Cole's a murdering asshole as well. You know, things don't always go the way you think they're going to go. I expected him to get killed earlier on because I thought he was a good and moral man. He is not a good and moral man. The good and moral man is the Lord Commander of the King's Guard. I want to see what happens with him. I'm actually hoping to see him over at Dragonstone, aligning with Daenerys. With Rhaenyra. You're going to have to forgive me. I'm actually watching regular Game of Thrones, old seasons, along with this. So my brain, much like old Viserys at the end, is confused. Until next time, this has been Roman of the Empire, signing off. Please like and subscribe, as it does help the channel out, and God knows, like Viserys, we can use all the help we can get. Be kind.